Okay, so picture this: Alice, fresh off her tumble down the rabbit hole, finds herself in a scene straight out of a bizarre nature documentary. We're talking a whole crew of soaking wet creatures, all looking like they just lost a fight with a car wash. Feathers plastered, fur matted, every single one of them soggy, grumpy, and seriously uncomfortable. Their number one priority, naturally, was to get themselves UN-drenched. A quick huddle formed, and before Alice could even process it, she was chatting away with these animals like they were her oldest school friends. It was wild. She even got into a full-blown debate with a Lorry, who, let's be real, sounds like a grumpy parrot. The Lorry pulled the classic "I'm older, therefore I'm wiser" card, refusing to divulge its age, which, of course, Alice wasn't having. No age, no concession. The Lorry eventually just clammed up, a feathered curmudgeon. Then, a mouse, who apparently was the unspoken leader of this soggy brigade, piped up. "All right, everyone, listen up. Sit your damp selves down. I'm gonna fix this wet mess." So, they all plonked down in a big circle, the mouse right in the middle, looking very important. Alice, shivering a bit, was desperate to get dry before she caught a cold worse than a forgotten ice cream. She watched, eyes wide and anxious. The mouse cleared its throat dramatically. "Ahem. Is everyone ready for the driest thing I know? Total silence, please." William the Conqueror, big shot backed by the Pope, basically walked right in because the English didn't have a clue who was in charge and were cool with anyone taking over. Edwin and Morcar, these two earls from Mercia and Northumbria. Suddenly, a shiver ripped through the Lorry. "Ooh!" it exclaimed. The mouse, looking annoyed but trying to be super polite, frowned. "Excuse me? Did someone interrupt my historical masterpiece?" The Lorry quickly replied, "Not me." "Nope." The mouse squinted. "Thought you did. Anyway, continuing. Edwin and Morcar, the Earls of Mercia and Northumbria, declared for him, and even Stigand, the super-patriotic Archbishop of Canterbury, found it advisable. "Found what?" squawked the duck, cutting him off mid-sentence. The mouse, clearly losing its cool, snapped back, "Found it, obviously. Don't you know what it means?" The duck, quite reasonably, shot back, "I know what it means when I find something, usually a frog or a worm." The real question is, what did the Archbishop find? The mouse, bless its cotton socks, completely ignored the duck's very valid point and barreled on, found it advisable to go with Edgar Atheling to meet William and offer him the crown. William's initial strategy was pretty chill. But then his Norman thug started acting up. "How are we doing, Alice, my dear?" The mouse, still droning on, turned to Alice. Still as wet as ever, she sighed, a little defeated. This history lesson isn't exactly a blow dryer. At that, a Dodo, looking incredibly solemn, stood up. "Right, in that case," it declared, "I propose we adjourn this meeting immediately for more energetic remedies." An eaglet piped up, "English, please. I don't understand half those fancy words, and let's be real, neither do you." The eaglet then ducked its head to hide a smirk, and a few other birds let out little snickers. The Dodo, clearly offended, ruffled its feathers. "What I was going to say was that a Caucus-Race would sort us out perfectly." Alice, not entirely sure what a Caucus-Race even was, but feeling like she had to say something because the Dodo had paused for dramatic effect, asked, "What is a Caucus-Race?" The Dodo gave her a knowing look. "Ah, my dear, the best way to explain it is to do it. And, just in case you, dear listener, ever find yourself inexplicably wet on a winter's day, I'll tell you the Dodo's secret." First, it drew a wiggly circle in the mud, declaring that the exact shape doesn't matter, which, frankly, sounds like something I'd say to avoid drawing a perfect circle. Then, everyone just kind of spread out along this wonky track. There was no ready, set, go. None of that organized chaos. They just started running whenever they felt like it, and stopped whenever they felt like it. So, you can imagine, it was a little hard to tell when this race was actually over. But, after about half an hour of this delightful absurdity, once everyone was miraculously dry again, the Dodo suddenly yelled, "The race is over." Everyone skidded to a halt, panting, and immediately started clamoring. But who won? The dodo, looking like it was contemplating the meaning of the universe, pressed a finger to its forehead. You know, that Shakespeare in the pictures pose. After what felt like an eternity, it finally announced, everybody has won, and everyone gets a prize. A chorus of voices immediately chimed in, but who's giving out the prizes? The dodo, with a theatrical flourish, pointed a wing at Alice. Why, she is, of course. Suddenly, Alice was swarmed. A mob of damp, demanding creatures all yelling, prizes! Prizes! Alice, utterly bewildered, reached into her pocket. Luckily, the salt water hadn't ruined it of a box of candies. She handed them out, one to each thankful creature, a sugary moment of peace. But she needs a prize too, you know, the mouse declared. Absolutely, the dodo agreed, looking very serious. What else have you got in there, Alice? Alice, feeling a bit sheepish, produced a lonely thimble. Just this, she said sadly. Hand it over, ordered the dodo. They all crowded around again, watching intently as the dodo, with the gravitas of an award show host, presented the thimble to Alice. We humbly request your acceptance of this rather elegant thimble, it announced, and the whole crew erupted in cheers. Alice thought the whole thing was bonkers, but everyone looked so incredibly earnest that she couldn't bring herself to laugh. She just bowed, like accepting a Nobel Prize, and tried to look as solemn as possible while holding the tiny metal cap. Next up, the great candy consumption. This was less a civilized snacking session and more a small-scale riot. The bigger birds complained their candies had no taste, probably true. Candies are smaller to them, while the smaller ones started choking, requiring some frantic back-patting. Eventually, the sugary chaos subsided, and everyone settled back into a circle, begging the mouse to continue his tale. You promised to tell me your history, Alice reminded him, and why you hate C and D, she added in a whisper, worried she might upset him again. The mouse sighed dramatically, turning to Alice. Mine is a long, sad tale. Alice, eyeing his tail, which was indeed very long, murmured, it is a long tale, certainly, but why is it sad? While the mouse droned on with its story, Alice's mind drifted, imagining the tale looking something like this. Fury said to a mouse, that he met in the house, let us both go to law, I will prosecute you. Come, I'll take no denial, we must have a trial, for really this morning I've nothing to do. Said the mouse to the cur, such a trial, dear sir, with no jury or judge, would be wasting our breath. I'll be judge, I'll be jury, said cunning old Fury, I'll try the whole cause, and condemn you to death. You're not even listening, the mouse snapped, pulling Alice back to reality. What on earth are you thinking about? Alice, flustered, quickly apologized. I'm so sorry. I think you were just getting to the fifth bend, right? The mouse bristled. I was not, it shrieked, clearly furious. A knot? Alice exclaimed, ever helpful, looking around anxiously. Oh, let me help you untie it. The mouse, utterly disgusted, stood up. I'm not doing any such thing. You're insulting me with your utter nonsense. Alice, devastated, pleaded, I didn't mean it. But you're just so easily offended. The mouse, in response, just let out a grumpy growl. Please come back and finish your story. Alice called after it. The other animals chimed in, yes, please do. But the mouse just shook its head impatiently, quickening its pace until it was gone. What a pity it wouldn't stay, sighed the lory, once the mouse was completely out of sight. A rather old, wise-looking crab seized the opportunity to lecture her daughter, see, my dear. Let this be a lesson, never lose your temper. Oh, hush, Ma, the young crab snapped back, you're enough to try the patience of an oyster. I really wish I had our diner here, Alice said aloud to no one in particular. She'd get him back in a flash. The lory, intrigued, asked, and who exactly is this diner, if I may be so bold? Alice, always eager to talk about her beloved pet, beamed. Dinah's our cat. And she's absolutely brilliant at catching mice, you wouldn't believe it. I know, you should see her with birds. she'd gobble up a little bird faster than you can say a tweet. This, as you can imagine, caused a bit of a stir among the audience. The birds, in particular, looked distinctly uncomfortable. Some immediately scarpered. An old magpie started fussing with itself, muttering, "Oh, I simply must be getting home. The night air isn't good for my throat, you see." A canary, trembling, called out to its terrified chicks, "Come on, dears. It's way past your bedtime." One by one, with various flimsy excuses, they all scattered, leaving Alice utterly alone. "I really wish I hadn't mentioned Dinah," Alice lamented to herself, a tear welling up. "Nobody down here seems to like her, and she's truly the best cat in the entire world. Oh, my sweet Dinah. Will I ever see you again?" And with that, poor Alice dissolved into tears once more, feeling incredibly lost and lonely. After a short while, though, she heard a faint pattering of footsteps in the distance. Her heart fluttered with a sliver of hope that the mouse had changed its mind and was coming back to finish his story.